Well, happy Easter and Holy Week, church family. I pray and hope that your family is having an incredible week leading up to Easter, as we're going to celebrate Easter this Sunday, probably physically in a way that we never have before and maybe never will in our lifetime. And God's been teaching me something this week leading up to Easter. And one thing I was reminded of, that words and phrases can do wonders in our mind. You know, the way certain words and phrases jog memories from our past is pretty incredible. You know, for example, if someone mentioned the singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett, you know, that takes me back to riding in my dad's old maroon pickup truck, riding down the road back and forth from Louisiana to Petal whenever I was young, listening to the Jimmy Buffett tape that my dad owned. And yes, I did just date myself because I said Jimmy Buffett tape. Well, there's other memories that come with certain words and phrases. Maybe for you it's certain foods, like when Lauren wants to cook or suggests that we cook cinnamon rolls for breakfast. You know, anytime cinnamon rolls is mentioned at our home, my mind goes directly back to whenever I was a young boy and I was at my grandmother's house, because she would always cook cinnamon rolls for breakfast whenever I would get to stay the night with her. And then as we sat down and ate cinnamon rolls together, we both would watch The Price is Right together. And those are good memories, just the way that words and phrases would jog my mind as I look back in my past. But there's also negative memories that comes with words and phrases. Like, for instance, if I were to say 9/11, probably your mind would go back to the place that you were when you heard about the Twin Towers and whenever our country had been terrorized. Maybe other things like cancer or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. You know, when I say diseases like that, your mind may go to a family member or a friend that you know who is living today that is still fighting those diseases or one of those diseases. Or maybe you lost someone to one of those diseases. I lost my grandmother, the very one that used to cook cinnamon rolls for me, had Parkinson's. And my grandfather, who is still living today, is fighting Alzheimer's. And so as words and phrases can bring positive memories to our life, there's certain words and phrases that can bring negative memories as well. Well, last night our family was reading, kind of having our Bible study together, and we were reading the passages leading up to Easter. And I want to read a passage for you that we read last night, and I'm going to kind of summarize it. But this is in Matthew chapter 26, and this is verse 33. It said, Peter declared, "Even if everyone else deserts you, I will never desert you." That is Peter talking to Jesus. Jesus replied to Peter and said, "I tell you the truth, Peter, this very night before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times that you even know me." Verse 35, "No," Peter insisted, "even if I have to die with you, I will never deny you." And all the other disciples bowed to do the same. Well, if you flip over to the next page, just a few verses later. Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came over and said to him, "You were one of those with Jesus, the Galilean." Peter denied it in front of everyone. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Later, out by the gate, another servant girl noticed him and said to those standing around, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again, Peter denied it, this time with an oath. "I don't even know the man that you're talking about," he said. A little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, "You must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent." Peter swore, "A curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know the man." And immediately the rooster crowed. Suddenly Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind. He had a memory. "Before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times that you even know me," is what Jesus said. And Peter went away, weeping bitterly. You know, I read this passage and I wonder if, moving forward past this time in Peter's life, if he heard a rooster crow, if he saw a rooster, or maybe if a rooster was mentioned in conversation, I wonder if the memory that was jogged to his mind was the very moments that he denied Jesus. You know, words and phrases have power over us. When things are mentioned and our minds travel back to when those things took place or what those words and phrases are connected to. You know, we're living in an incredible time where the history books will one day write about this. In fact, many of our kids and grandkids and great-grandkids will be taught about the time that the deadly coronavirus covered the earth in the year 2020. And you and I will one day tell stories and hear other people's stories of what they did during the time of the coronavirus. So my question for you is this. And say 5, 10, 20 years from now, when someone mentions the coronavirus of 2020, what memories will jog your mind? Here's what is crazy. Today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day, you and I have the opportunity to begin to write those memories for our future. Let me tell you what I think would be very sad, though. In 10 to 20 years from now, our only memories that we have of the history lesson that we are writing from this time is memories of hours and hours of Xbox and PlayStation, maybe the Tiger King or Ozark, or being bored or sleeping till noon or just staring at Fox News, and many other things that are probably pointless. How sad would it be for that to be our only memories? Well, I've got good news. It doesn't have to be that way. You know, the life of Peter didn't end after his denial. Peter lived on past the sound of the rooster crowing. In fact, John tells us that Peter had breakfast with Jesus on the bank of the Sea of Galilee. And as they had breakfast together with other disciples, Jesus asked Peter this question: Peter, do you love me? And Peter answered that question the same all 3 times, saying, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And every single time Jesus gave the same answer. Well, Peter, if you love me, then you should feed my sheep. In other words, Peter, you should be telling people all about me. See, it was in that time that Peter realized that Jesus had forgiven him. And that Jesus had a plan for Peter's life that was the same plan that he had given him before. Just to follow him. The same call that Jesus has for us. Just follow me. And Peter continued on doing what Jesus asked, even though he may have some bad memories of when he would see a rooster, but those memories were trumped with the memories that he had of doing what God wanted him to do and being faithful to Jesus. You know, Peter ended up giving his life for his faith. He became a martyr, gave his life for believing in Jesus. And many believe that Peter was crucified upside down in Rome under the cruel leadership of Nero. You may not have done anything spiritual since the virus began. I'm not saying that all movies and that sleeping a little bit extra is evil. I'm not saying that at all. But I think there is much more that we could be missing. Just like Peter with Jesus, your memories during this time of the virus don't have to be sad and wasteful and boring. I want to look back personally and say, I grew more in my faith during those couple months or weeks during the time of the virus. I want to say that maybe I memorized more scripture than I had all last year. I want to say that maybe I prayed more between February and June than I had in a long time. You know, we can begin to write the memories that we're going to have for the future of what is going on today. And God has great things for you right now. Some of us are waiting to see what God is going to do after this is all finished. What God's plan is for us and for what's going on in the world when all this is done. But what's incredible is that God has great things for you and for me today. How about we begin to write memories of faithfulness? Instead of being able to look back and think about all the time that may have been wasted and that maybe we even regret. Let's begin to live today in such a way where we look back and we're thankful for our faithfulness and the lives that were maybe changed around us because of how we spent each and every day during the time of the coronavirus. I want to say God bless you and praying for you, and we hope that you have a great day.